Well, James, I appreciate you being with me here on the Social Entrepreneurship and Innovation podcast. And for folks who are unfamiliar, would you mind introducing yourself and sharing with us a little bit as to what it is that you do?
Of course. Hello, everyone. And Corey, thank you guys for having me. My name is James Leitner. I am the founder and executive director of MissionCleanWater, which is a nonprofit organization working to provide clean drinking water and sanitation to underserved communities, more or less around the world. We'll definitely talk more about that. But then also, I use my experiences as an endurance runner as a vice for fundraising for our organization.
And so, I'd love to start right there, how this overlap first came to be. So I'd be curious to hear a bit more about the origins of MissionCleanWater and why is it connecting to so much running?
No, definitely. Great question. At least for my journey and kind of where it started, focused around water. I've lived and grown up in, suburban New Jersey, very close to New York City my entire life. And so the idea and thought of water as a issue really never came to me because it's just so prevalent everywhere you go, at least for right around me in the tri-state area. And so when I learned that water was a global issue, it more or less, shocked me. And it was just 2010. And I learned that, 1 billion people in the world didn't have access to clean water. And just that's a huge number. And it kind of blew me away. But then also the fact that, women and children have to walk every single day to try and obtain and find water and then carry the 5 gallons or 45 pounds back. It shocked me. I was like, this I don't understand how this is occurring and going on. And so, before I started doing the endurance fundraisers, just kind of really began the educational aspects of me learning everything that I can. And just through my experiences as an endurance runner, I really wanted to showcase, what children go through every day. And so that kind of began, the natural aspects of showcasing their walks through my different, journeys as a fundraiser, pretty much.
And so maybe one question before we get to your unique fundraising tactics. I am wondering what James, do you feel like you've understood or that you understand now about this issue of accessible clean water that you didn't understand when originally starting MissionCleanWater? What are some new learnings that you have with you today, a greater understanding of this issue as a whole that you first didn't have when starting the organization?
That's a really good question. There's only so much that books and previous people's experiences and stories can tell you. You definitely do learn a lot more on the ground. And, really what I have learned is, at times to just sit back and listen, because the people in these communities, even though they don't have a very formal, public education, I guess you can say, they're extremely smart and knowledgeable people. And, they spend all their time at their land taking care of it. So they understand so much of how the water moves and flows within their community. They, fully understand when it's too long of a dry season, too long of a wet season. Their knowledge and ability to work with their own community is extremely impressive. So at many times when we're trying to help them develop ways of maintaining and taking care of their different water systems, or ways of trying to motivate their community members to get involved and volunteer their time or resources, we just learn to kind of sometimes sit back and listen and hear the different ideas they've had, because they've created some better ideas than we've ever thought of, just from our moments of us kind of just listening to see how the conversation goes and develops. A good example is that in all of our clean water projects and within the communities, they have their own structured system to maintain those projects through a water user committee. And all these committees do collect small fees because water really is a utility. But one thing the community members started doing was they saw that all these funds are being collected to maintain and take care of these projects really without us knowing. They developed their own micro loan system and were giving out through the water user fee collection loans to different community members that have all been paid back to develop new economic sources for them, like, creating, buying machines to better grind rice and different materials. They decided on their own to begin selling water to other communities and to the government during heavy drought seasons. I've been, blown away, and these are ideas I and my team never thought of, but they have just kind of thought of it themselves and approved it themselves as their own entity and community. So it's just been kind of wonderful to see, how smart and motivated they are once they realize the potential that they have.